All right, check. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Our last Touchdown Club meeting of the year. Welcome, everyone. 15 straight weeks. 15 straight weeks. My goodness, we made it to the end. We made it to the end. Rex Nelson pointed out to me because we celebrate all the schools in college here, in high school here in Arkansas, but we wonder, we started this club 21 years ago. It's like, Lord, can we have one great year for the Razorbacks while we're doing this? Just one. We do know we'll have a new coach. We'll have a new first-year speaker next year for the Touchdown Club. I don't know who it is. I think it's one of four. Kane Womack. I'm just guessing. Kane Womack, who actually his dad was a coach with me in the early 1980s. Yeah, I know him very well. A great guy. Or it could be three of the guys from the G5, Alex Golish at South Florida, Ryan Silverfield at Memphis, or Eric Morris at North Texas. I think that's going to be it. I could be completely wrong. I'm just throwing them out there. But nonetheless, they should be here next year for the first Touchdown Club meeting. It's been 15 straight weeks. And so we can't do this without all you guys coming. I love what Mac Brown said. Where's Chris Kane? I love what Mac Brown said. We'll have this on the sizzle reel. He goes, what makes the Touchdown Club special, and I believe this, is when I come in the room, the energy I feel, the love I feel, the passion that I feel, the hospitality. So I'm telling you, it's not just up here on stage with our speaker or me or Rex or anybody else. It's everybody out here. There's a palpable feel in this room. I'm just telling you. Memphis ain't got it. Mobile's been around 75 years. They ain't got it. Tallahassee, none of them got it. We have it. That's why most people consider us the best Touchdown Club in America, and it's because of you guys. So really excited to have Mark May, who's been, this is your third trip, Mark, right? Third Touchdown Club trip over the last, I think you were here 10 years ago. And one of the really class guys, one of the greatest offensive linemen ever played the game, college or pro. And just a class act, very loyal guy. I've been supportive of the Broyles War for many, many years. So great to have him here today. We're going to also present our Dan Hampton, Willie Rofe, and Darren McFadden High School Awards. Our three honorees are here from all over the state. Let's give them a round of applause right now. I told them if they look online, there'll be some people arguing about whether they should have got it. But those three, you got two gold jacket guys, and Willie Rofe and Dan Hampton wearing their gold jackets, NFL Hall of Famer, College Football Hall of Famer, Darren McFadden, two-time Heisman runner-up, greatest ever played at Arkansas. I say whatever they say goes, right? Well, I'm not arguing with what they have to say, so we're going to honor our three great winners today. Do want to go ahead and give away our pop-up Rockstar pass, our Rockstar pop-ups. Mark May has signed these, so let's see who is the winner here. 042212. 042212. 042212. Going once? Yeah, Chris Peterson over. Look at Chris. There you go, buddy. Very nice. Thanks to Rockstar Passes. They've done that every year this year. Appreciate all of you guys who put in money for that. That all goes towards the bottom line. As you guys can see, ladies, you see? You like this right here? Now listen, I used to fill this out a lot better than I do now. Roger, don't you say a word right here. I'm coming back, Jessica. I'm coming back. Eye of the Tiger, 2026. But thanks to Steve Labs, you can go to our QR code on our website or up here and order all these kind of different options that they have. So do that. Also, so the Terry Bradshaw trip is official. It's on. If you want to be a part of that, go to littlerocktours.com and sign up. It also enables you to get a signed bottle of Bradshaw bourbon and a signed cookbook, a Bradshaw Bradshaw family cookbook. And so if you want to take advantage of that, we'll either take one or two buses December 19th. Love to have you. Roger and I will be up there on the buses together. He puts on a fun show. It may be the last time he ever does it up there. So yeah, go to littlerocktours.com. We love to have Touchdown Club members as a part of that. All right, we want to bring up for the last time our official minister of the Touchdown Club, Chuck Monan, who wrote a fascinating and brilliant recap of Morning Mayhem that we're going to put up at some point. It's really fascinating, but he's a great guy. He's done a great job this year. Please give it up. Chuck Monan, everybody.
I've been studying those morning mayhem guys like Jane Goodall studies the chimpanzees. So kind of similar to that. This week, we have a marvelous blessing as Americans. Our country pauses and gives thanks for the many blessings we've received. Bill Bryson writes these words. He says, "Thanksgiving is wonderful and for all kinds of reasons." He says, first of all, it remains a pure holiday, unsullied by commercialization. It involves no greeting cards, no trees to trim, no perplexed hunt through drawers and cupboards for decorations. At Thanksgiving, all you do is sit at a table and try to get your stomach in the shape of a beach ball. This is a holiday that we can all get behind. So we hope that everyone's team wins this week, unless you're one of those poor schmoes from Ohio, and then you get what you're going to get on Saturday. Let us pray. Father, we're thankful for this time to get together. We're thankful for the good camaraderie we've had through the year, for the Touchdown Club. We're thankful for David and for all the volunteers that make this possible, for all the sponsors and for all the attendees. Father, we're thankful that Mark came out and traveled during a very difficult week to travel to come out and support. We appreciate Mark and what he stands for so much. Father, we're thankful for the food that you provided, and as Americans, we're grateful for our country. We pray for our leaders. We pray that we might have unity and harmony, and that kindness might reign supreme in all the things that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, thanks, Chuck. You got a pen? Rex, or no? You got a pen or no? A pen? Thanks, RJ. Appreciate that. I thought I had it up here, but I don't. Okay, a couple things real quick. Make sure if you can mute your phones. You can watch online. Tell folks you can watch online at the Buzz. You can listen to the Buzz 103.7 the Buzz. You can listen. You can watch because of Arkansas PBS. All of our streaming platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. The Touchdown Club website. So make sure if you can't be here, if somebody wants to be here, if they can't be here, pop them a text and let them know. I want to thank all of you who are members. Thanks so much. Couldn't do it without you. It's a combination of sponsors and members. So we're not able to do this. If you can, Anita, let's show real quick. Let's show this year just as a picture of all the speakers. So Jimmy Johnson, it seems like that was like 2 years ago. I mean, Jimmy Johnson, remember that was this year. And I don't know if it's because the Razorbacks have lost 9 in a row or what, but that just seems like forever. And one thing we know about Mark May has not requested a double Scotch or a double Crown Johnny Walker Black like Lawrence Taylor did on September 2nd. But what think about it. We started this season, Sam Pittman was the head coach. I mean, how crazy is that? Just the nature of the crazy game of football, college football that we love. And it's been a blast. We're the only touchdown club in America that goes 15 straight weeks. We're the only one. Nobody else does that. So that's a tribute to you and all of our sponsors who I want to thank now. First, we'll start with our presenting sponsor, Simmons Bank. Richard Johnson and Haskell Anderson up here at the head table. Thank you guys so much for being Simmons for being such an amazing sponsor. We know that we're not going to have George Macris leading the way anymore. We're going to get Jay. I got to make sure Jay's committed. Jay Brogdon, is he committed to the Touchdown Club? He better be, but I'm excited about that. I know he will be. I was telling Mark about the amazing success story of Simmons Bank. Nobody could have a better presenting sponsor. As a matter of fact, Vern Lundquist ran into Vern down in Austin for the game yesterday, 2 days ago. And I said, Mr. Lundquist, said David Basil with the Touchdown Club. So great. His wife was there. So great to have y'all here back in the day, a couple years ago. He said, oh, Dave had a great time. Boy, I thank Simmons Bank and that wonderful plane they came to get me in. So make sure to tell George that sometimes we ask that to happen, and Simmons and others will deliver with a plane. And but Vern said, boy, he just said Simmons Bank. That's all he said. So thanks to Simmons Bank for being such a great presenting sponsor. Stevens, same thing. Curtis Jeffries, Warren Simpson, all the gang at Stevens. I know Warren Stevens has been very busy overseas, but we thank Stevens being our second tier presenting sponsor. Crane Automotive, Christian Crane, Chris Crane. Appreciate them so much, and always having their ladies and guys here to be a part of the show, a part of our meetings. 19 dealerships across the state. They are the best. Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. We've got the Cliff Harris Award coming up. Judy, you believed in that years ago. It's really turned into really one of the cool awards, Small College Defensive Player of the Year. At all divisions, we give the trophy for all divisions, Division II, Division III, and NAIA. It looks like maybe Harding may have a chance to win that again, but thanks to Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. Appreciate them. Oaklawn Hot Springs, we appreciate their support. Wayne Smith, I know Zach Gillum is here. Chris Ho is here. Kaylee is here. Good to see Blake is here from Crawford Johnson Robinson Woods. We love partnering with Oaklawn. We love being able to brag, and we think we can twist Mark May's arm. Mark May used to be in the horse business, and he came to the Broyles World last year at Oaklawn, and he sort of got that buzz going again about horse racing. So maybe we can convince Mark to bring maybe buy a horse and start racing at Oaklawn. Maybe we got the connection right here. And by the way, my picks this year have stunk. I was great last year. I'm terrible this year. I'll admit it. I got to get better. It was a weird year. I don't know what it is. Weird year. But thanks to Oaklawn. Appreciate them. I think we've got a commercial for Oaklawn. This is me and Roger. Let's see a DJ. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Okay. I got my bet in on the next drive. Y'all?
Yep. Whoever loses picks up the tab.
You know, this Oaklawn Sports betting app is so fun to use, it might actually make watching these games with y'all bearable.
Big talk coming from a fella about to lose this wager.
Just need a field goal here, and you'll be cooked, my friend. Remember our friendly wager.
And it's good.
Go!
Bet on any game all season long with Oaklawn Sports, Arkansas's best sports betting app.
Yeah, that is Roger Scott there. He actually wore that outfit back in high school back in the day over at Hot Springs High. But thanks to Oaklawn. We appreciate them, Oaklawn Sports, and download the app if you haven't already. Speaking of Roger, obviously close friends with Summerwood Sports, David and Doug Hendricks, Junior, Landon. Appreciate you guys. Couldn't do it without you. You guys are here every week. Love that from our sponsors. Love what you guys do in the community, and proud to have you as a sponsor of the Touchdown Club. Double B's, 34 locations across the street. Another legendary business here in this state. Steve Lytle and Ed Light. Gas it, grab it, go. Thank you so much for Double B's and their support, the Touchdown Club. Sissy's Log Cabin, 54 years they've been in business. Bill and Sherry Jones, and love what they did when they gave Holly Rowe and Kelly Finglass the jewelry that they've been talking about since that point. We appreciate them and what they do in the community. Roller Funeral Home. It's great to see Renata. Great to see you back, Renata. Appreciate you and your amazing staff and family, everybody. And I know it's not been the easiest year, but glad you've been with us all these years. Thank you. Hatcher Agency, Greg Hatcher, who brings the biggest group of his staff and others every week. Hatcher Capital Investments, Hatcher Agency, Scoops, Twin City Limo. I don't even know if Greg's here today, but I know Lane and Maddie are here. But just thank everybody at that table for being here every week. We really appreciate it, and glad you guys are here and you do amazing work. We couldn't be the club we are without you. Advantage Service Company, Kevin Brooks and Matt Bailey. Where's Kevin at? Kevin wrote the kindest letter about what this club does, not just us, but the people who set up, who we're going to introduce here in a minute too. It's a village, and appreciate, Kevin, you recognizing that. Appreciate you guys at Advantage Service Company always supporting us. Simmons Bank Arena, Michael Marion. Where's Michael at? And Jana. Been another great year, Michael. This guy's been doing concert scheduling for how many years, Michael? 50 years he's been booking concerts. You know, he's doing it at Simmons. He's done it at Tupelo. One of the best in America, and we've got him here every week at the Touchdown Club, and they're sponsoring us, and we appreciate Michael, you and Jana, and all the work you guys do and your entire staff. Pulaski County Farm Bureau, Todd Dennis, Stephen Reichert. They've been with us for 7 or 8 years. Couldn't do it without them. Appreciate them. Great service, great rates. Call on them when you need some insurance help. War Memorial Stadium, John Latch, Mark Pike, Kevin Crash, Shay Lewis. Appreciate you guys back again. 76 years you've been doing it. Thank you for your support. And our media sponsors, Wally Hall and Amanda Copley with the Democrat Gazette. Wally has written a lot of great columns about the Touchdown Club this year. Appreciate them. It had some great players, Amanda, this year. Amazing numbers always. We love the players that will come from all over the state to be a part of the Touchdown Club, and their families get excited about it. So we appreciate all the help there. 103.7 The Buzz, my man Roger Scott right here, the most talented radio guy in America. We appreciate it. Yeah, you can go ahead and stand up if you want to. And our CEO, Terry Mahan, all of our great sales staff, they do a great job. Justin Aker and DJ Williams out there broadcasting every show. No other Touchdown Club in America does that. And AY Media and AY Magazine, Heather Baker, Couldn't do it without her. AY Magazine, Arkansas Money and Politics. Matter of fact, too, a really great article in this most recent publication of AMP Magazine, Arkansas Money and Politics, has our man Mark May. There it is right there. So you think about that. You also did Jimmy Johnson cover story. You also did Kelly Finglass. And so great. We appreciate your partnership, and it's a win-win for all of us, and appreciate your loyalty and you being here every week too. That's something that I think is very important too. So we appreciate that. Want to thank JF Media and Marketing, Alicia Dover and Jeremy Flynn over here to the left. So I think I teased it last week. Holly Rowe was so impressed with what Alicia and Jeremy and their team did. Holly Rowe has hired them to go to the Heisman ceremonies and cover what she does at the Heisman. So how about that yeah. So they do, thank you. They do all of our social media for us. They've done a great job. We've had millions of hits this year. Some of them at the expense of some of the people on the Hill. Just saying, may not feel as positive about me as they used to. I just speak from the heart. That's all I'm saying. But thank you guys for doing a great job. Appreciate you. And Arkansas PBS, Anita, Brian, Kevin, Tanisha back there in the back. They spend hours setting up. They spend hours breaking down to do a great show, and that people can watch around the country. And thank you guys so much. Y'all are the best. Listen, we appreciate what you do. I don't know how you do it. I would be mentally fatigued having to put all the wires every week and all these kind of things, but they do a great job. No other touchdown club in America does that. So let's give everybody a round of applause right there. Let's give them a round of applause. Also want to say, no other touchdown club in America. Look back there in the staff back here. Look at, so all those folks back there, they set up on Sunday. Look at that. Set up on Sunday, break down on Monday. Nita, Angel, Gustavo, Tyon, AJ, Tabitha, Tiffany, Mark. Outstanding. Yeah, I've been able to deliver donuts to them on Sunday mornings. Davis Ford's also a part of that group that we appreciate him. But thank you guys. You guys are the best. So we can't do all this stuff. You don't have to do it. And normally some hotels would charge tens of thousands of dollars to do this, but you guys make it work for us. We appreciate that. Also want to thank Sunbelt Convention Services, Tim Glasscock, for what he's done with our pipe and drape, Rockstar Passes, Brad Rickett, and Joey Gonzalez. And our 3 new sponsors this year. You know, Rex, we start with we didn't have any sponsors when we first started this thing. Had no sponsors. So we continue to grow, and this year our new ones are Midtown Plumbing, based in Benton, Haley and Jim Coleman and Kyle Jackson. They are so supportive. Great company. Appreciate them. Arkansas Surgical Hospital. I think Dr. Clay Riley is here. Thank you, Dr. Riley, for being here. Was founded by orthopedic and spine surgeons who were searching for ways to provide a better overall experience for their patients, and they have an amazing facility out there at Crystal Hill. So thank you to Arkansas Surgical Hospital. And finally, Arkansas Spine and Pain. Dr. Qureshi, Scott Davis, great doctors, 6 different cities. They are amazing. Appreciate their new sponsorship. They allow us to be able to bring in names that nobody else can do. No other touchdown club can do. So one more time for a big round of applause for all of our sponsors. Last but not least, before we get to our honorees and Mark May, I want to thank our touchdown club team. Dwayne Duncan, who has taken, 100,000 photos. Let's give it up for Dwayne Duncan. Stand up, Dwayne. Stand up, Dwayne. He's amazing. All the pictures on Facebook, he loads them up. He does it all. I mean, nobody's got a guy like Dwayne, and he's so faithful and loyal. Appreciate him. Also, Chris Kane, RJ Hawk, Steve Sullivan, Steve Qualls from Design Labs. I mentioned Davis Ford. All these folks are making a big difference. We'll see RJ here in a minute. I'm going to mention Chris as well. At this time, though, I want to recognize our volunteer team. I never call them out by name because we're always so busy. So some are not here today. Like, for example, my mom, Carolyn Basil's not here. Elizabeth Clogston, Nancy Carter, Rita Johnson, Lewis Nally, and Lee Danner. Both Lewis and Lee do the setup in the room. But there are some names here. When I call your name, I want you to stand. Hold your applause until the end. So, but I want these volunteers. We have 25 all together that we couldn't do this without. So Melissa Nelson, let's stand up. Evelyn Smith, Kathy Phillips, Christy Mann, Marilyn Miller, Sherry Hall, Jan Owen, Karen Powell, Barbara Pence, Jane Johnson, Hope Fort, Kim Hout, Deborah Redding, Lori Scott, Carol Lee Ford, and Vince Powell. Let's stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. And the guy who picks up our speaker every year, every week, done it for 10, 15 years, quiet, doesn't say a whole lot. But we need somebody that's not a chatty guy. It's going to wear out our speaker. Hey, Wes Sutton, everybody. Give it up for Wes Sutton. Good up, Wes. And Vince Powell, I do want to say that you stepped in when we lost Ron Skaggs, Vince, and he was one of the all-time great volunteers, maybe the all-time. You stepped in and have been amazing helping us, so thank you for doing that. Yeah, that's very kind of you. And Christy, man, I know Christy, her boys come every week to be a part of this, and we appreciate Christy. But that's why our touchdown club's better than everybody else. Nobody's got that. That's the best. And so, led by Debbie Wyman, everybody. Let's get it up for Debbie Wyman, our executive director. She wanted to say thank you, too, for everybody who brought to potluck. Her son leads the charge for potluck. How did we do today, Debbie? Awesome. Very nice, especially this time of the year. All right, before we bring up Rex, we want to bring up R.J. Hawk, State Rep R.J. Hawk. It's such an honor that we get to honor three of the greatest players to ever play that all came out of the state of Arkansas. Darren McFadden, Willie Rofe, and Dan Hampton. They vote on this. They look at the film. These are our three high school winners that R.J. is going to introduce. We'll announce the college players later, but this time, give it up, everybody, for R.J. Hawk.
Thank you, David. Rex, you always talk about football time in Arkansas and how it's great. Nothing better than practicing for a state championship or a semifinal the week of Thanksgiving, and that's what's happening this week. And so high school action's still going on, but now it's time to give away some hardware. And we'll first start with the Dan Hampton Award. And David, one thing that was really cool about all three of these, we were able to get all the huddle film on all these different finalists, give them to Dan, give them to McFadden, give them to Willie Rofe. And they chose it. There wasn't a committee. It was them watching the actual film and deciding who was going to be the winner. So we'll start with the Dan Hampton Award for the best high school defensive lineman in the state. This high school defensive lineman has recorded 55 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, and leads Greenwood with 7 tackles. His team's playing in the 6A state semifinals this Friday night against Benton. Your 2025 Dan Hampton Award winners, Cody Johnson from Greenwood. Yeah, he's a really big boy. Wait till you see our next one. The Willie Rofe Award for the best high school offensive lineman in the state. Now, when you think about offensive linemen, there's not a lot of stats, right? You might have a pancake block or you might not allow a sack. Well, people across the country are looking at this young man right here. He's one of the top offensive linemen in the country. He's the number one offensive lineman in the state. He currently plays for the Bauxite Miners, who play this Friday night in the quarterfinals when they take on Stuttgart. He's committed to SMU. Your 2025 Willie Rofe Award winner is Evan Goodwin from Bauxite. Now, if you followed the Little Rock Touchdown Club on social media, you probably have seen the comments, the shares for our running back for the Darren McFadden Award. We had 2 really, really good running backs in the state of Arkansas this year, one from down in Hamburg and one from Greenbrier. Both almost identical in stats, but there was one person when it came to tape that Darren McFadden said, "That's a dog." He said that dude could play for anybody. In fact, He's one of the top in the state. He's had over 2,100 yards rushing in the regular season. If you add his 200-yard performance in the playoffs this past season, that puts him up to almost 2,400 yards. He's had almost 40 touchdowns this year with a 9.6 yards per carry average. From Greenbrier, Arkansas, your 2025 Darren McFadden Award winner is Enoch Hassan from Greenbrier. And real quick, none of these awards can be done. We want to thank the Hatcher Agency, the Michael Erie family, and as well as Simmons Bank for allowing us to give these sponsors out. And this is just for the high school side. We will be announcing here in a couple weeks our college winners. We're going to wait till after the conference season's over for that. But once again, a round of applause for all of our high school winners for the Dan Hampton Award, McFadden Award, and Willie Rofe Award.
One of the really cool things, guys, is that when those guys look at you guys, for example, Dan Hampton, Cody. So he actually said, Dan Hampton said you reminded him of him. How about that? Said his technique. You're talking about a guy, one of the greatest players to ever play defensive line. So what a compliment to all three of you guys that you got the greatest that picked you. And so great compliment. So I appreciate those sponsors. As RJ said, the Hatcher Agency, Simmons Bank, and Mike and Deanne Erie, who have been sponsoring the Dan Hampton Award for many years. I do want to thank Bill and Doris Lawrence. They're the sponsor of the Harlan Hill Award, the Small School Heisman. I think they're here today. So it takes all of those sponsorships to make that work. So we appreciate them so much. And great to have you guys here today. All right, the last time of the year. Give it up for Rex Nelson for our recap of the weekend, everybody.
Thanks, David. David did make the point. We were having the conversation recently that for most of the existence of this club, again, University of Arkansas football teams have been mediocre to poor. And we talked about what if that program had been consistently good, consistently great? How big would this club be? And yet, even with that, we have built, as David said, and this is not David blowing smoke, this is our speakers coming in, the top football club in America, perhaps, in a city of 200,000 people. How did we do that? Well, first of all, and David, you hit on it, we're not just a Razorback club. What an honor to honor high school players, which we do every week of the season. And what an honor for me to come up here and talk about every college football program in the state. Not just our D1, but our D2, our D3, our NAI. That has been a key to it. But the real key to it, I think, David, is the fact, and people who don't come on a regular basis or don't come at all are going to think this sounds hokey, but we are a family. You are my fall family. Some of you I will not see again till next August when we greet that new Razorback coach with great enthusiasm at this club. I will not see you again, but we're friends because of this club. And think about it. We live in a time when so much divides us, so much. Our politics are ugly in this day and time. And yet we get to unite for 15 straight weeks here for our common love of football and our common love of the state of Arkansas. So thank all of you for being part of my fall family. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Texas 52, Arkansas 37. Career best performance from Arch Manning. Arkansas's defense has a way of doing that, Mark, for people, giving them a career best. 102,361 looking on in Austin. Hogs fought a 2-9, 0-7 in the SEC. Texas 8-3, 5-2. Manning passed for 389 yards, 4 touchdowns, and get this, became the first Southeastern Conference player since 2014 to score touchdowns on a run, on a pass, and on a catch in the same game. Now, that was the 91st 31st game in this long series and the highest scoring game in all of those 91 games. And what a storied series that is. David, I'm going to preach for one more second here. I get so tired of people online, period, online, a lot of people on social media, but on social media saying, well, Arkansas can't compete in the SEC. Think about it. Ole Miss has had 3 10-win seasons. They are in a state where there are 2 SEC teams dividing the talent, only one here. Arkansas has a larger population than Mississippi. Arkansas has far more billionaires than Mississippi. Yet you're telling me they can compete and Arkansas can't? Not at all. When I was a young boy growing up in this state, the 3 winningest programs in America, Mark, in the decade of the 1960s, Alabama, Texas, and Arkansas, percentage-wise. Look it up. It can happen, and it will happen with the right coaching hire. So hopefully that person is here next August, David, for our first meeting then. Moving on, all of our Division I teams do have losing records, but our Division II teams, 5 of the 6 had 7 or more victories this year. Great football being played at that level. Harding could be on its way to a second Division II national championship in 3 years. They beat Northwest Missouri State 38-16. Junior Andrew Miller out of Harding Academy had 195 rushing yards. Harding had 475 yards of total offense out of that flex bone, 427 of the 475 on the ground. Northwest Missouri had led that series 4-0 coming in. They're a traditional D2 powerhouse. The 12-0 Bisons now host another traditional powerhouse in D2, the Gorillas of Pittsburgh State, on Saturday in Searcy. So 10-2 Pittsburgh State against 12-0 Bisons. Go Harding. UCA finishes the season 3-9, 2-6 in conference, 49-28 loss to Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian finishes 7-1 in conference and wins the conference. UCA sophomore quarterback Caleb Koger did make his first start of the season. It was Alabama State 44, UAPB 13. Golden Lions finished the season 4-8 overall, 2-6 in the SWAC. They were 0-6 on the road this year. They won 4 games in Pine Bluff, but couldn't get it done on the road. And a lot of you were watching last Thursday night, a heartbreaker for ASU. I couldn't even go to sleep. I was so upset. Quarterback Jalen Rayner in the ESPN National Thursday night game was stopped, I'm talking about inches short of the goal line on the final play. 34-30 loss to Louisiana Lafayette. ASU now 5-6, 4-3 in conference. They've got to go on the road Saturday to be bowl eligible and get a win at Appalachian State. Good luck to the Red Wolves. Would love to see one Arkansas team get in a bowl game. So you got games in Fayetteville and Searcy on Saturday afternoon. You got high school playoff games. You can go see these guys on Friday night. So lots of chances to watch some games. SEC, going to be lots of good TV this weekend. Texas A&M 7-0, Georgia 7-1, Ole Miss and Alabama 6-1, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Texas all 5-2. Real quickly last week, it was OU 17, Missouri 6. Oklahoma held the Tigers, this week's Razorback opponent, to 301 yards, shut them out in the second half. How about Vanderbilt? 45-17 over Kentucky. Diego Pavia threw for a career-high 484 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's the most Vanderbilt wins. They're 9-2 since 2013. Just the 5th 9-win season ever. And Vanderbilt, if they beat Tennessee this weekend, will have their first 10-win season ever. Tennessee 31, Florida 11. Speaking of, it was the first Tennessee win in the Swamp since 2003. Tennessee had dropped 10 in a row at Florida Field before that one. Now, this weekend, I used to say Thanksgiving was the best day of the year. You sit around, as Pigskin said, you eat, you give thanks, you watch football. Great holiday. I'm not so sure Friday may not be the best day of the year, because I love leftovers. I think they're better than the real meal. So get those leftovers out and think of this triple header you can sit and watch on Friday. First of all, Michael, at 11 a.m., you've got the Egg Bowl. Now, there's often not a lot on the line for the Egg Bowl. This year there is with Ole Miss trying to get in the playoffs, but often not a lot on the line. But I always watch it because there are always fights. It's so trashy over there. And, people acting like dogs or leaving themselves at the goal line and all. I mean, it's such a Michael, admit it. It is such a trashy rivalry. I watch. It's like watching car races, waiting on that wreck to happen. You know it's going to happen in the Egg Bowl. So you got that at 11 a.m. Then you got Georgia at Georgia Tech. At 2:30, Georgia Tech, much better this year. That should be competitive. And then at 6:30, Texas A&M at Texas. Should that not be fun? Saturday, you got Kentucky at Louisville, Clemson at South Carolina, LSU at Oklahoma, Vanderbilt at Tennessee, Florida State at Florida. You got the Battle Line rivalry, not a real rivalry, but we hope the Hogs win for a change. And then you got a real rivalry in prime time. That's the Iron Bowl, the greatest rivalry in major college football. Of course, the greatest rivalry in all footballs here in Arkansas. It's the Battle of the Ravine. So SEC is still 5 of the top 10. Texas A&M number 3, Georgia number 4, Ole Miss number 6, Oklahoma number 8, Alabama number 10. So, as I usually say, get out and see a game, sure. But most importantly, on this Thanksgiving week, enjoy your family, eat well, and give thanks to the Lord for the many blessings He has given us. We'll see you in August, everybody.
Rex will catch his breath until next August. He and Melissa. Melissa, were you in the first year? Second year. So the super couple of the Touchdown Club, Melissa Nelson, who's worked checking in folks, and you have been here since, a great relationship. Appreciate that. I just saw Ann Jansen Broadwater back there. I didn't get a chance to mention you, Ann. Thank you for your support of the club. All right, before we introduce Mark, I want to introduce a couple of special guests, mention a couple of things. We've had Mark May on the buzz every week during football season for at least a decade. And one of the sponsors on the buzz is here today. It's Edwards Food Giant, represented by Steve Edwards Jr. Let's give him a big round of applause. Steve, welcome. Stand up. He is a U of A grad. Great. Listen, if there's anybody you're going to sponsor every week, it's this guy right here who is outstanding. So thank you, Steve. Also, Molly Harrell and Betsy Broyles Arnold is here as we gear up to the 30th anniversary of the Broyles Award. Just found out today. We announced tomorrow the most nominees, Mark, in the history of 30 years. Over 60 colleges have nominated an assistant coach of the year. Let's welcome Betsy and Molly back there at the back. Appreciate them. As I mentioned, this guy over here to the right, I've already told Mark, R.J. Hawk, but the next time you come, will probably be the governor of Arkansas, just so you know. Yeah, the governor had his fundraiser the other day. The guy on the right is Chris Kane, formerly of KTV. For those who may have missed it, Blake, I was giving him a little 2 cents on promotions and PR. He's done it quietly, hadn't been announced yet, but he is the new president of Delta Solar. Let's give it up for Chris Kane, everybody. How about that? How about that? New presidente. How old are you, Chris? 37. This guy's going to be a rock star, and Delta Solar is smart to give him the role of president. And I got to mention my girlfriend, who is announced this past Friday, the new CEO and president of the Arkansas Community Foundation. She never sees me for 15 weeks now. I just say, I'll see you in December, babe. But so proud of her. And for those that know what the Arkansas Community Foundation is, they manage $1 billion in philanthropic giving around the state. Many people don't know, but she manages these clients and individuals, people who want to give their money to nonprofits, and they do an amazing job. She's a new CEO. How about that? Jessica Ford, everybody. How about that? You know what that means? CEO in, Basil out. Time to upgrade for boyfriends. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And just speaking the truth. Also, I got to give a shout out to my dad who's watching. My mother's down in Florida. She's not here. I hate that Carolyn's not here. But my dad's watching, and my dad turns 85 today. So let's give a shout out to my dad. Happy birthday, Dad. So I got everything that I have in my life from my mom and dad, and my dad taught me about sports. My dad taught me about being competitive and disciplined, and I would not be where I am without him. So I'm so grateful. It's the greatest gift that God has given to me beyond his son, is to have parents like that, and especially my dad, to have them here on earth at 85 and 80. I am blessed. So that's why you're never going to hear me complain. You know, I don't have to have any sleep. I don't have to have any money. I've got all the blessings I need. So anyway, all right, I'm getting emotional. Cut me off, Roger. Cut me off. Get emotional. All right, so great to have Mark May here today, one of the greatest players of all time. He's got his 3 Super Bowl rings on. What an amazing career, not only on the field, but off the field as a broadcaster. Let's take a look at what Steve Sullivan has to say about Mark May.
Mark May, just a junior, 6'5", 280, could very well next season be the best offensive lineman in the country.
Mark May was an instant success at Pittsburgh. A unanimous first-team All-American, Mark took home the 1980 Outland Trophy awarded to the nation's top offensive lineman. As a pro, Mark was a key member of the original Hogs, a name given to the Redskins' legendary offensive line. He was part of 2 Super Bowl winning teams. Now, many of you probably know Mark from his time on College Football Final with Lou Holtz.
You should be impeached. You're giving him a verdict on a case where he's going, let's go to the NFL quarterback formula.
I would say Counselor Holtz is
Mr. Puffy Rose.
A football star, TV personality, and yes, author. Mark May has done it all. Please welcome the 20th pick in the 1981 NFL Draft, May Day. One of the greatest Redskins ever, Mark May.
Well, Mark, welcome back to Little Rock. You know, you're here. You've been every year here for the Broyles Award, but we haven't had you back for the Touchdown Club in 10 years. But I know that Roger, you would agree. I think our listeners, those of you who listen to The Buzz, Mark is one of the favorites. He always is prepared, knows his stuff, and we've enjoyed having you, first of all, with The Buzz, and then your relationship with the Broyles Award and the Broyles family has really been a neat deal to all of us for the last decade or so.
It's been amazing. I love this state. The people have been amazing, and it's my second home.
Wow. How about that? We like that. So I did want to mention the 30th anniversary of the Broyles Award. And we've told this story at the Broyles Award occasionally, but for our Touchdown Club guests that may have never heard this story, there's a reason there's a connection with Frank Broyles. And tell that story real quick.
Well, I was a young freshman from Oneonta, New York. Didn't know that much about the big city or anything like that, or Pittsburgh. Didn't know about being on television because I'd never been on television before. So Coach Broyles is calling a game with Keith Jackson. He's calling a game at Pitt Stadium. So I'm a young freshman. I go in and play. And he starts raving about this young man from upstate New York, Mark May, is going to be a great one. And I'm like, he really said that about me, Coach Broyles? And he was just giving superlatives all the time during the game. And I get after the game, I didn't even know this. I'm playing the game, so our SID at the University of Pittsburgh showing me this stuff. And I'm like, good golly, one of the greats of the game to say that I'm going to be a great player, which was very important to me at the time. Because when I went to Pitt, I was just 17 years old. So after the game, they showed me the clip, and he goes, you should send him a letter. So I sit down, I write him a letter. I said, Coach Broyles, you know, it's a great honor for what you said to me. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and I'm going to cherish this moment forever. So I sent him a letter, and I said, nah, I'm not going to get anything back. You know, he's way up here, and I'm just a 17-year-old kid. So he writes me back. And from that point on, it was like, I'll be a Coach Broyles fan forever. And I always will be.
Great story. So, for those that don't know, you had a chance to play really one of the greatest college teams in the history of college football. First of all, starting with an amazing coach that we all, Jackie Sherrill, who we all know at Arkansas very well because he was assistant of Frank Broyles. But wait, if you have not heard, wait till you hear the team. And I was fortunate as I think a 16-year-old junior, maybe a 15-year-old junior, to go to Tallahassee, Florida to watch Bobby Bowden in Florida State play you guys in either 80 or 79. Talk about how great that team was.
Well, it was a pretty decent team. We only had Dan Marino, a Pro Football Hall of Famer. We had Hugh Green, a College Football Hall of Famer. We had Ricky Jackson, a Pro Football Hall of Famer. We had Jimbo Covert, a Pro Football Hall of Famer. We had Mark May, a College Football Hall of Famer. We were 11-1 that year, so our last 2 years we were 22-2, only lost 2 games. We lost 1 game at Florida State and 1 game at North Carolina. And there was this young high school kid in the stands named David Basil that threw an apple at me and hit me in the noggin when I was on the sidelines at Florida State. That's not a true story. I'm just pulling this leg, but it's like we had a great team. And Coach Farrell even says today, and I tell everybody, he goes, how did I mess that up not winning a national championship? I not only had 1 opportunity, I had 2 back-to-back, and we still didn't get it done. If we play today, we'd definitely be in the playoffs and probably win it all.
Yeah, think about that. They had 3 NFL Hall of Famers. 3. Much less 1, 3 on the same team, plus 5 total College Football Hall of Famers, and just couldn't get over the hump. What was it like playing with Marino back in the day? Did you sense the greatness of Dan when you were playing with him, that what he was going to turn out to be?
I helped recruit Dan out of Central Catholic in Pittsburgh. Here's the thing about Danny. Rick Tricano was our starting quarterback then, and he was one of us because he came in the same year that we did. And Dan Marino comes to the first practice, and we're at training camp. All of a sudden, he's just warming up. So he's throwing fire. Boom, boom, boom. Hugh Green turns to me and says, that's our guy. Jackie, after the first practice, says, protect him. That's all he had to say. So he made sure that we protected him. You had like Jimbo Covert on one side, I'm on the other side. Russ Grimm, who we forgot to mention is a Hall of Famer, he played guard on the other side. So Dan Marino was well protected those 2 years we played for him.
Yeah, so you think about this, you're the 20th overall pick in the first round. You go.
Here's the story behind that one. Listen to this one. So I'm being recruited by the Redskins. They come up and they work me out, and Joe Bugle's up there, and I'm working out on the field. And they've got the 9th pick in the draft. So they're telling me, we're picking you, the 9th pick in the draft. So draft day comes around. I go to church, come back in, watching the draft. And back then they didn't have ESPN or anything like that. So basically the local news had it, and you heard it on radio. So the 9th pick comes up. Redskins trade the pick. So I'm sitting there seeing all that stuff, all that time, all that work I put in and workouts for these guys. This is how they do me. So what happens in that is the 20th pick comes around, they take me. So it worked out anyway. So 3 Super Bowls later, kind of like it. I think it was a good decision. It did work out for me.
Yes. And we talk about connection to Frank Broyles. So in less than 1 second, everybody tell me what was his connection to Frank Broyles with the Washington Redskins? Joe Gibbs, exactly right. So little did we know that you probably didn't even know at the time there was a connection with Joe Gibbs and Frank Broyles because there's no way you probably would have. What was Joe Gibbs like back then?
Very, very cerebral. Coach Gibbs was one of those guys. He was approachable if you wanted to approach him, but he was so into football. I remember times walking into the building, and I come walking through the building, and Coach Gibbs would walk by, and he would be into it and just go on his own way because he was mentally into the game and thinking about getting the game plan ready. Then I'd walk by him like the following day. Hey, Mark, how you doing? How's the family doing? What's going on? And you're like shocked because he's out of that zone. But I've never seen anybody more detailed, more prepared, more ready to get his team ready to play, not only offensively, but defensively and special teams and coaching-wise, than Joe Gibbs. And I watch coaches today, and he built a culture in Washington when he took it over. Everybody thought it was George Allen playing the Cowboys versus the Redskins. Joe Gibbs took it to an extremely higher level in his first year. We started off 0-5. People don't remember this. We were 0-5 Joe Gibbs' first year. He thought he was going to get fired. He had to go up to Jack Kent Cook's house every Monday and explain why we lost. We ended the season 8-8, 1 game away from the playoffs. Following year, went to the Super Bowl and won. History is being written.
You also had the unique perspective of having 3 different quarterbacks win those Super Bowls. And we've had one of them here, Joe Theismann, who was outstanding. So talk about the 3 quarterbacks.
It wasn't the quarterbacks. It was the Hogs. The Hogs were the only constant for all the Super Bowls. We had 3 different quarterbacks. It didn't matter who was throwing the ball. We're protecting them anyway. So it's like the Razorback Hogs here, the Redskin Hogs. It's all up to the offensive line and the Hogs. But the thing about Joe Gibbs, he always prepared other quarterbacks. When we're on the practice field, the backup quarterbacks, instead of running the scrum, they're on the other field with Jerry Rome learning how to be a quarterback. So they brought young quarterbacks in, prepared them from the future. That's how far ahead he was ahead of the game of anybody else. So if a quarterback went down, they were prepared to play. And I know everybody prepares backups, but he saw this in the future when he drafted a young, like a Stan Humphries, a Mark Rippon, guys they drafted late in the draft, they were prepared to play. And that's why Joe gives us such a success, because he makes sure if you weren't prepared to play, you're not going in. And if you're not mature enough to be on this football team and prepared to wait every week, they're going to get rid of you. And that's the way it was. It's a profession. It's a business. And all he wanted was the highest standard, because these are the standards that he had set. You meet those standards or exceed those standards, we're going to win. The bottom line of playing football is winning and losing. And he found a way that we would make sure we would win every week, or we had the opportunity to win. That's all you can ask for.
You had 3 different quarterback personalities,
Yeah.
right? Between the 3. Maybe compare those 3.
Well, Joe was an overachiever because Joe's like, Joe Theismann, because he was like 5'9", and he had to play his football in Canada for his first couple of years before he came back, and he was really a punt returner and a backup quarterback. So once he got the helm and he was a starting quarterback, things changed. All of a sudden it moved up. We started rolling out plays, running boots and waggles and stuff like that, getting him out of the pocket, using his athletic ability. And Joe was very successful, took us to 2 consecutive Super Bowls until he had that bad break against Lawrence. It wasn't my guy.
And you were there. Matter of fact, if those of you remember when Joe Theismann broke his leg, a really ugly scene that Lawrence Taylor, who we had this year, broke his leg. You were standing beside. You were the only offensive lineman kneeling down. Many people thought that you had missed the block. You were just there to support him.
Just there to support him, because I can remember, because having racehorses that broke their leg, you couldn't get it infected. Back then they had the lime on the field, and the problem was if he rolled over in the dirt and got that infected, because I saw it was a compound fracture, it went through the sock. So he couldn't move, so I had to hold his shoulders down until the trainers got on the field. And that was one of the things I'll never forget, because Joe came to me when I saw him in the hospital, and he just said, thanks. He goes, I said, why? I said, you're my teammate. And he goes, no, because you probably helped me not getting my leg infected because of what you did. And it was just something I just learned in the process. And Joe and I, we're all still friends. When they have the Redskins get-togethers, we all get together. And it's just different, because when you look at Mark Rippon, you look at Doug Williams, the quarterbacks that we had, they're all different quarterbacks. And you always had to make sure that you knew the cadence of each quarterback. And for offensive linemen, that's very important, because you'll see young quarterbacks go on the field, and if the cadence, the inflection point is different, that's when guys will move, and you'll have procedure penalties. And the one thing about us is we practiced it in the hotel the night before if a different quarterback was starting. And I don't know if teams do that now, but we did that, making sure that we're going to be on the same page.
Where did the word hogs, how did that come to be? Obviously, we like that because, so how did that come to be?
Well, Joe Bugel, our offensive line coach, a coach that should be in the Hall of Fame. He should have been in years ago. Unfortunately, he's passed now. But we're at training camp in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So we have a little bullpen down in the corner where we practice our individual techniques. So one day, Joe Bugel goes, all right, all you hogs get down to the bullpen. So all of a sudden it sticks. So once training camp was over, the guys made the cut and made the team. He comes out on a Thursday, and he's got these T-shirts of this nasty, snarling hog that's mean and nasty. He said, you guys are the hogs. From that point on, it just took off. All of a sudden, you got hoggets with snouts in the stadium coming every weekend. You got these guys that are the hoggets. They're all doctors, lawyers. They work for the government that are dressing up in hog dresses and stuff like that. And the following just took off. And it was one of those things that even today, if I go to Washington or walk through an airport, when I go back to D.C. for an event or something like that, you still see people call, hey, Mayday, that's the hogs. And people just talk about the hogs today, and it's still brought up, and it's still with the Redskin traditions right now, being a hog.
It's amazing that you played on a collegiate offensive line that you can make the argument one of the greatest ever in terms of Hall of Famers, NFL Hall of Famers. And then you go to Washington, same thing, another great group of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, we had on our offensive line in college, all 5 guys played in the NFL. All 5 starters played. With Washington Redskins, 4 of us made the Pro Bowl. Myself, Jacoby, Grimm, Bostic. So you can't ask for more than that from your offensive line. And a lot of it has to go back to Joe Bugel, the way that he taught us techniques today. I watch offensive linemen play today in the NFL and college, and I sit there and I'm saying, who in the heck is their offensive line coach? It's all a bunch of bear hugging. Keep your hands tight. Don't get stupid holding calls. It drives me crazy. I watch these guys. It's like, who's coaching these kids? I'll tell you, I just go out and just come to Arkansas when you hire your next coach. I'll come down for free and I'll give him a clinic.
So we've had you on the show. It's been well documented. You are not a fan of changing the name from the Redskins to the Commanders. So I think the president has weighed in on it. He said it's go back to the Redskins with his name on the stadium, of course. And then what do you think about that? Where do you stand? We haven't had you here in 10 years. Do you think it should have the chance to go back to Redskins, or are you fine with Commanders, or where do you stand on that?
Point blank, all the tree huggers, and I don't care if you're in here or not, you may want to leave the room, but forget about it. It's Redskins. My Super Bowl rings say Redskins, Washington Redskins. My grandfather is full Seminole Indian on my mother's side. So I'm Native American, and it doesn't bother me at all. And when I asked my grandfather when he was alive, when I was playing in the 80s, he said, "No, grandson, I'm very proud of you playing in the NFL."
Yeah, and that franchise is headed in a better direction now, too, than where it was.
It was until this year. I'm not a big Dan Quinn fan. If people in Washington know what I do, Collins there. And Dan Quinn is the head coach of the Washington Commanders now. And if you look at his track record, yes, he took the Falcons to the Super Bowl, but what happened? He had a big lead at halftime. They got blown out in the second half. His last season coaching the Dallas Cowboys, as their defensive coordinator, his last game against the youngest team in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers, they gave up over 100 points. His last game last year when he got him to the championship game, they played the Eagles, gave up 100 points. So he's not a great coach. He's not a great culture builder. He'll have a good year, and then there's going to be lean years, and now they're finding out those lean years are starting this year. You can say, okay, Jaden Daniels is injured. That's one thing. That's a cop-out. You've got Marcus Mariota as the backup. He won a Heisman Trophy. He can play in the NFL. The bottom line is the franchise needs to get this turned around. They need to get that stadium back where it should be, right outside of Washington, D.C., and they need to make sure they bring the name of the Washington Redskins back, because you don't have a Super Bowl ring, you don't have a championship in Washington without that name. And if it offends people, I'm sorry, but that's the way that I feel.
All right, let's talk about the Razorbacks real quick. So you've been doing the show with us for over a decade now, and I don't know, maybe it's 15 years, I don't know. And so, boy, it's been a rough road. And so you go back to after Petrino, the Chad Morrises and the Brett Bielemas and the Sam Pittmans. So what do you think's missing, Mark? You've watched enough of college football. I know we'll talk a little bit about the money and transfer portal, but you watch football. What's missing up there?
The first thing is you're missing a leader in the athletic department. When you go and look at good teams, good schools that have longevity, that are up at the top year in and year out, you look at the athletic director. He's probably somebody that's established, that's been there and done it. I'll tell you a story. About 15 years ago, I'm at the SEC Media Days. I'm playing golf with Mel Moore. You may not know Mel Moore. He was the athletic director at Alabama for a long time. I asked him, why did you hire Nick Saban? Because he got a lot of heat when he first hired Saban, because basically he was at the Miami Dolphins and got fired there. And he said, I thought in my heart, when I looked in his eyes, I felt that he was the right guy at the right place, and that place is Alabama. And there's a statue outside of the stadium right now of, guess who? Nick Saban. He lost one of his first games to Louisiana Monroe, but Mel Moore stuck with him because he knew down the road dividends were going to pay off. Now, you've got to find that guy here at Arkansas. You've got to find that culture builder, that guy that's going to buy in to stay here, because this is a destination job. This is a job that people want to go to. You're in the SEC. You're in Arkansas. It's the game in Arkansas. You have no professional teams. You have no professional football team, no professional baseball team, no professional basketball team. You are it. You have no competition for colleges. It's not like South Carolina where you have Clemson in South Carolina, or Alabama where you've got Alabama and Auburn. You have Arkansas in the state of Arkansas, and you should stick your chest out and beat it and act like it, because you're the top dog in this state. And you better get the right guy at this head coaching position and get it done.
So along those same lines, we've had Hunter Yurchek here, and one of the things, money is an issue, and we've talked about on our show quite a bit, that you can have the right attitude and have say all the things you want to say what you want to say. But last week Mac Brown said it. David, he said the game of football is now about buying players. That's what it's going to. So do you believe that Arkansas has the ability, with 16 great teams in the SEC, to be able to raise the money to compete with other schools?
Well, as it was said earlier, you've got more billionaires in this state than Alabama and anybody else in Mississippi does. Why can't you compete? Not only compete, but be better than them. Why can't you? You've got to follow this football team, and you've got to get the support. And if I'm the athletic director here, I sure as heck don't come out and say in the media that we can't compete and we can't financially stand up to the other teams in this conference. You don't say that. Even if you know that, you say, you know what? We've got to come in here and build a better foundation, and we're in the process of getting better so we can compete with those guys, but that's what we're going to do. That's what you tell people. You don't tell them you can't compete. When you tell somebody you can't do something, you know what? You're telling them that they're a loser. I've never told my children that they can't do things. I've always told them, if you can't get it done, I'll help you do it, and I'll show you how to do it, and then you'll do it on yourself, and you'll get it done, and you'll do it.
So Pete Thamel put out there yesterday, and I've heard these same names. So group of 5 names: Ryan Silverfield at Memphis, Alex Golis at South Florida, Eric Morris at North Texas. Those 3 are all head coaches, and then Kane Womack, defensive coordinator at Alabama. So any thoughts on those 4 guys, if those are 4 of the finalists?
They're all great coaches, and they've all done a terrific job where they are. But this is the big time. This is the best conference on the planet for college football. It's the SEC. You're playing in the best. Get the best. If you want to compete to win championships, get the best. Get the right guy for the job. And I'm sure they're good. But they're young guys with young families, and they're going to have to move their families, and they're going to think twice about getting this job. When you see your athletic director saying you can't monetarily compete with everyone else, you've got to be crazy to say that publicly. Because 1, the recruits aren't going to come here. 2, if you're a good coach worth of salt, you're probably making as much money where you are now than coming here. So why not go ahead and get somebody that's going to want to be here? You've got to find that perfect coach that needs to be here. I like Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen's coached in this conference. He's won in this conference at Mississippi State and Florida. And he went to UNLV when they had a shoestring budget, and he's won 9 games this year. Would you all like to be winning 9 games this next year? I think so. And the other thing is there are other coaches out there that are young. How about Jim Moore Jr.? That's my wild card. Nobody talks about him at University of Connecticut. Jim Moore Jr.'s won 9 games last year and this year. This year they beat 2 ACC teams. They're an independent school. Jim Moore coached at UCLA. Then he got the Falcons job because he won at UCLA. He's got Southern ties being the Atlanta Falcons head coach. And he's still fairly young. You've got to go out and scour and find the right guy. And you better not hire a damn coaching firm to hire the guy. You got to be strong enough as an athletic director saying, I'm putting my name on this. I'm signing off on this. This is my guy. Come heck or high water. If he loses, then you fire me. But that's the guy that I'm picking because you hired me to be the athletic director. Period.
I just ask the questions. That's all I do. All I do is ask the questions. That's all I do.
Sorry, I get
No, it's okay.
I get passionate
Listen,
about
I want you to. We may have one less speaker next year at the Touchdown Club. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. We're not. We'll have everybody back again next year. Okay, so let's talk real quick before we let you go. Lane Kiffin. So here he is. You got a team that's on the cusp of getting in the playoffs, something they haven't done before. They've won 10 games. But that's not the narrative now. The narrative is you're going to make $98 million at LSU. You're going to make money at Florida. What do you think about that situation? Do we just say, well, that's the way it is now? Or is that something, as Nick Saban said, it just doesn't feel right? That's the way the calendar works out.
It doesn't feel right now because it's a different process and it's changed. A lot of people don't like change, but that's the way the game is played now. I think a perfect example is if you look at Ohio State last year, that was the best team that money could buy. They went out and they spent over $50 million, and they got a championship. That's the way the future is going in college football and college athletics. So if you want to win, you're going to have to pay for it. It's something that people don't want to talk about. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but that's the way the game is played now. And you look at the landscape of coaching Lane Kiffin, yeah, he's going to make a lot of money, but Lane's made a lot of money. How much is enough is enough? When is enough is enough? He's got success. He wanted to get to the playoffs. He's sitting right now at Mississippi. They're probably going to be in the playoffs. That's where you wanted to be. Or does he just go through the process of, at the end of the game against Mississippi State, he's supposedly to make a decision. You can't force him to make a decision because if he takes another job, he's not going to coach that team in the playoffs. So what are you going to do at that point? You're going to put an assistant in there? You finally made the playoff at Ole Miss. You're going to put an assistant coach in there to take his place? I think if you're smart, you hold his feet to the fire and make sure that he coaches this out. But Lane, he's going to have his pick of jobs. He's still fairly young. You're in the coaching profession to win a championship. Now you're in a position to get to the playoff to win a championship. Why in the world are you looking at another opportunity?
Last thing before we let you go, so my old coach, Lou Holtz, and you used to have maybe the best television on Saturday nights. For those of you too young to remember, it was called Final Verdict. And it was you, Lou Holtz, and Reese Davis, who is now the head of College Game Day. And my old coach would get fired up. I think we have, Anita, this is just one short clip of Coach Holtz getting mad and saying he was done. Now, you know, you can say, is he joking? I think he's actually seriously mad. Let's take a look at this real quick. So, was that true? Was that true? And what was it like working with Lou there back in the day?
It was wonderful. I'll tell you one thing, that was the best television for a decade that we had at ESPN. And the one thing about Lou is I knew how to press his buttons. I'd like get him riled up before the segment saying something about Notre Dame. Yeah, Notre Dame, they really stunk it up today. Then I just walk away and not say anything else. And I come back and whisper to him, damn, Notre Dame turned the ball over 4 times. That really sucked. I walk away and not say anything. And Lou would get so ticked off. The first day that Trev Alberts left the set, he had a disagreement with management. So they bring Lou in from ESPN2. And Lou'd never been on college football final before. They said, just sit there and just answer some questions. Lou will prompt you and answer some questions. So we're talking about Notre Dame, and I'm like getting on it really good. And Lou's like in his chair like, and I'm getting on Notre Dame, and I'm giving him the business. It's like, and then all of a sudden, Lou perks up and says, all right, I've had enough. He slaps the desk, and he goes on and on about this rant about how great Notre Dame is. I don't know what I'm talking about. You've never been South Bend when it really matters. You probably lost there when you played. He went on for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. They said, that's the guy.
Yeah, what was, and I know you've stayed close with Lou, and I know he's, 87, 88. We're not going to have him much longer. So what's that relationship been with you and him, post-final verdict, just staying in touch with him over the years?
It's been great, and it's not just the two of us, it's also Reese Davis. And we just had a bond because we worked so hard and so many hours on those Saturdays. We're up to like 2:30 in the morning on Saturdays, and even then at his age, I don't know how he did it because I was tired as anything at that time of the morning. But just staying close to Coach as much as possible right now. If you look at the situation that he's in, it's tough. He lives in Florida. I live in Arizona. I try to get back. I stay in touch with him as much as I can. And he's one of the people that's had a great influence on my life just because he's been a close friend and a great person. And we're like the 3 amigos in the studio. I mean, when we travel and do games and stuff like that, we're tight-knit. We're always close. But I'll tell you one thing about Coach Holtz. Don't ever let him drive. Because we're in Florida going to a game in Orlando because he lives in Orlando, so we're going to go over to do the game in St. Pete. So he goes, I'll drive because it's Florida. So he gets in the driver's seat, and as usual, he strikes up a match, lights his pipe, puts his pipe in his mouth, turns the radio on to what he wants to hear, starts driving down about 90 miles an hour, and he's just like looking around, smoking his pipe, throw the match out the window, just driving around. Like Reese and I are like... And as soon as we got out of the car, the first thing Reese and I said to each other, we'll never let him drive us again. That's it. And Coach was just one of those guys. We're in Ohio. I'll tell you a quick story. We're in Ohio doing a game, and we're doing like Tuesday, Wednesday games. So Coach comes in town. He goes, hey, matey, I didn't get a car. Can I borrow your rent-a-car? I said, sure. So I give my rent-a-car. So he takes off with my rent-a-car, comes back, no problem. So about 10 days later, I get an envelope in the mail. It's like an $80 parking ticket. So I go, Coach, did you get this? He goes, no. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, I got a parking ticket, and I never got a parking ticket in the state of Ohio. He goes, oh, there's a piece of paper. I just threw it in the back of the car.
Well, it's, you've had the chance to be around some of the great coaches, Joe Gibbs, Lou Holtz, as you mentioned, and Jackie Sherrill. And I'll just say this, is that, I've told people, college sports to me, you enjoy the game, but what you enjoy the most is the relationships you make. I've said that, Roger, about Joe Klein, that Joe Klein hadn't changed a bit since we were 19 years old in the dorm at Wilson Sharp. And this guy right here, just in dealing with him the last 15, 20 years, you can tell this is the kind of guy you want in your foxhole. That this guy is loyal, he's committed, and just a class act that doesn't ever talk about money, doesn't talk about whatever. He's just saying, what can I do to help you? And just one of the really good guys in the history of college and pro football, one of the greatest Redskins of all time. You're on the top 75 of all time, and you're an Outland Trophy Award winner and an All-American. And we're honored to have you as a part of our Arkansas family, Broyles Award family, and Touchdown Club family. Yes?
I've got to say one more thing in closing, all right? You had a guy here, I just said this on the radio a couple weeks ago. Coached for 35 years in college football, won over 640% of his games, won at Tulane, 2 stints at North Carolina, won a national championship at Texas. Mack Brown. Why don't you hire Mack Brown? He wants to coach again. Just think you're bringing Mack Brown, a guy that's won a national championship. He's recruited Texas for the last 30 years, and he knows the landscape of the SEC, and he said he still wants to coach. And if you all hire Mack Brown, I'll come down and I'll give those offensive linemen some lessons. I'll help you recruit. I will help you recruit if you hire Mack.
Mark May, everybody. Let's give it up for Mark May. Great job, Mark. Outstanding. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It was a great year. Thank you for being a part of the Touchdown Club. If you want to come up and get your picture with Mark, come on up. Sponsors first, 50-yard line members next. Everybody else.